Hi everyone, this is Aaron Runt, and if you were paying attention to my last tutorial, you saw that we were doing the 3+2 5-axis CNC machining. Now we're going to do a little bit more in this tutorial because we're going to step into the full simultaneous CNC contouring. In the description below, you'll see that I have an Ultimate and a 5-axis. You'll need to download those because we're going to drag and drop those into our machining environment. We're going to go to Create New Document. And I'm going to hit cancel for right now. And this is something you're probably familiar with if you've done the previous tutorials. So I'm going to grab my Ultimate one and I'm going to drop it right in there. We're going to do the import. And when it first comes to our import, this is a very simple looking part, but we're going to go ahead and use our wizard. We'll pick our 2 axes for Z. And then we'll just hit next. And if I go to the top, you can go ahead and select X if you'd like to, but X is already pointing the right direction. So I'm going to simply go next. On block, we're going to compute the stock size. Okay, so that's already going to be set up, so it should be default. And then we're going to put our user coordinate system in the middle, so it's going to pop way up here to the top. And then I'm going to hit next, and then we are going to use 5th axis positioning, and I'm going to click the center of the imported data boundary box. So I'm going to click that. You won't see much happen. I'm going to hit next one more time and finish. And just like that, this should be what we're looking at. Now remember, if this is a solid color, it means my part is selected. So I'm going to click off of it. Now you don't have to. I just do it so you can see what it looks like. And now that we have our stock set up, we're going to go ahead and grab our 5-axis post-processor that we downloaded, and we're going to drop it. And if you look down here, it says 3-axis. So when I drop it, you'll see that it does go to 5-axis right here. And I'll go ahead and scoot this back out of the way. So now we're ready to start adding some toolpath to our part. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my features, and this is going to look very similar to what it looked like in our last tutorial. We're going to go to surface milling. I'm going to select the entire part and hit add, and then hit next. We're going to choose a single operation. We're going to start off with roughing. So roughing strategies, Z level. I'll hit next, and then I'll come up here to remachining. We're going to go to our step cutting, and on our step up, we're going to type in 125 thousandths and click OK. Now I'll hit next. It's going to pull up an end mill, and we're going to go ahead and hit finish. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now that my roughing is taken care of, I'm going to highlight it again. We're going to go back to features. We're going to go into surface milling again. And notice how whenever I selected all those surfaces, it already had them right here, so I didn't have to click add. 2 ways of doing it, both ways are right. So I'm going to hit next. We're going to go to a single operation. We're going to go into parallel finish. We're going to hit next. We're going to go to X parallel. I'll hit next. And this is what's really cool. I mentioned this in the last tutorial, how your ball nose can edge break your part by cut to top edge and just roll over the edge. So it's going to actually take the ball nose and do an edge break just over the edge of my part, which is really cool. So I'm going to hit next. I'll hit next one more time. We're going to leave our slope limitations on none. Now it pulls up an end mill, a 1/2 inch ball nose, but we're going to change it to a different end mill. So I'm going to go to search for another tool. I want the end mill that kind of looks like this. So it kind of has like a shoulder that kind of comes up, and then it's a little bit stubby. So that's okay. And like I said, I have 2 of them. Sometimes you'll have multiples in there. That's okay. I'll hit next and finish. Now we're using that for a reason. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. So with all that said and done, I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit play. Now in your tutorial, it might stop and say, hey, this is a milling operation or collision awareness. I've already hit OK. I can see most of mine, but I'm going to hit play. I'll slow it down for the roughing. And you can see that it does my wireframe. And then it does my purple for all of that surface milling. Well, something doesn't show me is if there was any collision with the holder. So in order to see that, I'm going to go into 3D. I'll slow it down again and I'll hit play. And we're going to see the roughing take place. And then when the finishing takes place, we're going to see, we've got something going on right here. So I'm going to pause it. Let's go to front, and you can see that my holder is actually rubbing on here. So I can't do a straight up and down. Now I could always grab a longer tool. I'm going to change this to pan so I can kind of move it around better. But I don't want to grab a longer tool if I don't have it. So here's where that tilting and 5-axis simultaneous motion is really going to come in handy. So I'm going to hit eject because I don't want to just run this through my part like it shows. I'll come back to my isometric view, and then let's go ahead and start working on some of these attributes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into properties. We're going to go to the parallel. We're going to go into 5th axis tab, and we're going to select fixed, and we're going to come to this value right here, and I'm going to type in a negative 500 thousandths, and I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to hit OK, and now we're going to run it again. And I like to zoom out before I hit play because this tends to go all over. So again, we'll speed it up to get through the roughing. And then you can see now that it's doing what it needs to do. See if I can rotate it just a little bit here so we can see it. But you can see that it is going to a fixed angle, which also works. But let's just say I don't have that much tilt in my machine, so I might be running into a different issue right here. So we'll pull it back over here and we'll look at it. You can see it did do it. So if that is what we need, then we're all done. But we're going to change just a couple more things so you can see a little bit more efficient ways of doing this. So I'm going to hit eject. We're going to come back up to the surface milling. I'll right click it, or you can double click it. It does the same thing. We'll go up to the parallel. We'll go back to our 5-axis tab. And this time, we're going to come down to multi-axis, and we're going to click lean, and we're going to leave our lead angle and lean angle at 0. We're going to click apply. We're going to click OK. We're going to zoom out and hit play one more time. So again, it's going to speed through our roughing. Now this thing is going all over the place. I'll slow it down so we can see a little bit about what's going on. But there is a whole lot of motion going on right there. And it's not terrible. It'll look really cool, but I don't know if it's very efficient. So we'll go ahead and crank this up, and I'll speed it up so you can see it better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom up on here. So that was a lot going on, okay? So what we're going to do is we don't want that much lean and lead going on. So we're going to try one different way of doing this that is going to be a little bit more efficient to what we need this program to do. So I'm going to hit eject. Now what we're going to do is I'll double click to go into here. I'm going to go into parallel. I'm going to go into 5th axis. Now this time I'm going to come down here to tilt axis for gouge avoidance. It's set for no tilting right now. I'm going to change it to lead. And then I'm going to go up to here and I'm going to click vertical Z. So that way I'm kind of going back to where I started, but I'm going to put a little bit of lean into here so that it avoids that holder running into the material. I'm going to click apply. I'm going to click OK. And this time it should look just a little bit different. So I'm going to hit play. We'll get through our roughing. And now if you look at it, it's not doing a lot of extra motion. Therefore, it's actually not taking as long to get the part done. So we're actually being a little bit more efficient with that code. And just like that, my part is all done. And it looks pretty decent. But if I look at this and I zoom up, well, that's a lot of deburr. If you remember from one of my other tutorials, I'm not a big fan of doing extra work. So the last thing I need to do, because this is going to be the most efficient tool path for creating my part, I'm going to hit eject one last time. I'm going to go into surface milling, but I'm going to go down to the finish. I'm going to come into milling, and I'm going to come over here to step over. My step over is 50 thousandths. That's what we were seeing. I'm going to change this to 5,000. So I'm going to hit set, apply. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit play again. And let's see what it does. All right, well, that is obviously going to take a lot longer to run on your computers because that was getting down to the very fine step over passes right there. But as you can see, there's not going to be any debur work after this. So the good news is we've gone through and done this tutorial successfully. So the last thing we want to do is we're going to go to File. We're going to go Save As because we don't want to do this again. And we got to know where we're saving it to, but I'll go ahead and save it as 5-axis simulation. And then I'll just hit save, and then it's going to say my toolpath, and just like that, we are all done. If you'd like to see my other tutorial that we did previously, you can see that down here. And be sure and use all these tutorials to make your life a little bit easier. And thanks for watching.